Okay, I guess I should get started. So, good morning, everybody. We may be able
Morning.
to do this a little more interactive. So you'll notice there's a microphone icon in the lower left corner. If you haven't used Zoom before, it has a little red slash through it. That means that you're muted right now. But if you click on it,
Oops.
so yes, you
Sorry,
want to
I
ask a
just hit
question?
mute all and I muted you. I didn't mean to, sorry.
Oh, oops.
It works.
Yeah. So so you can unmute if you want to ask a question. I think there's also a way to how do you raise your hand down here?
Uh,
In the chat group,
Oh, it's in the chat thing.
yeah.
hit the three dots and it'll say
So
raise
if you
hand.
click the chat box at the bottom, and then what
Show me.
happens?
Where the drop down, right now it's set to everyone, where you can type to everyone. If you go all the way over to the right, there's a little three little dot. Oh no, that's how you, no. Wait, what?
I have an example of what it looks like when you're raising the
The
hand.
three little dots over to the right? No.
No,
What?
it's not that one. Hold on.
I thought there was a thing.
There is. I just can't remember where it is.
Well, anyway, for our purposes, it's not that big a group, so if you wanted to, you could just unmute the microphone, ask a question. So what I'm going to do is so the plan originally, before all this other stuff happened, was to kind of bring in some people to talk about different things that they do at the synagogue so you could find ways to get involved. Because ultimately, as we've said many times, when you convert to Judaism, you're also becoming part of the Jewish people. And the best way to feel comfortable in that is just to find something you like to do in the Jewish community and just get involved. And the more you do, the more you get involved, the more comfortable you are in them, and it just helps you to get engaged. So we're a big synagogue, in case you didn't notice, about 2,000 families. So that can be off-putting, but the good part about it is it gives us the opportunity to provide a lot of different kinds of activities. And so in a big place, the best strategy, I think, is to find the thing that you want to do, and our community probably has something like that available already. You just join that group, and then you've got your smaller group in the bigger group, and you're doing something you want to do. So like I said, originally I was going to bring in different people to talk about different aspects of Beth Yeshurun, but I can't do that exactly too well here. So instead, what I'm going to do is I created a little Word document, which I'm happy to share with everybody, that sort of talks about getting involved in the Jewish organizations. So here's a list of things in our synagogue first, and just to show you the overview. Then there's a bunch of things in the Houston Jewish community. Then there's some national organizations and international organizations, right? And all of those, or any of those, you can get involved in. I wanted to spend most of the time talking about Beth Yeshurun. Hopefully, you all will decide that this is your home. So the first thing I would say about synagogues is that, at least for American Jewish life, and probably for everywhere except Israel, where the whole country is Jewishly oriented, the sort of backbone of the Jewish community in any city is really its synagogues. If you're not engaged in the synagogue, in my opinion, of course I'm biased, I'm a synagogue rabbi, but I think if you're not engaged in the synagogue, you really are not. That's where life cycle events happen. That's where regular prayer, worship happens. So it's the opportunity to have a connection on a regular basis with other Jewish people doing Jewish things, whether it's prayer, whether it's social action or learning. The primary place where that happens, and I think really since the synagogue was invented, probably about 2,000 years ago, the primary place where that happens is in the synagogue. Even in ancient Israel, the ancient and Second Temple Israel, 2,000 years ago, synagogues already started to pop up while there was still a temple. And the reason was because not everybody could go to the temple in Jerusalem to pray. They wanted a local place where they could gather, and they gathered probably to study and pray and do other things, so religious things specifically. So synagogues are that important, and so of all the Jewish institutions, and that's why I became a synagogue rabbi and decided not to do anything else, because when I decided to become a rabbi, I wanted to work to enhance and enrich and invigorate the Jewish community in America. And I felt the best way to do that was in a synagogue where the action is. That's just it. Um, so we have to, in my opinion, you really should join a synagogue. Of course, I think Beth Yeshurun is the best place in Houston. So I just wanted to show you what we do here. So here are some people to know. So of course, the other rabbis, Rabbi Strauss and Rabbi Fort. Rabbi Strauss is our senior rabbi, so he is the one who basically is sort of setting the direction of the congregation. And, our transition to the this virtual world, was aided a lot by him, and of course with Jennifer and Ashley and other people helping us do the mechanics of it. But it was his kind of, I think he was kind of the guiding influence about how to do this. And he sets the direction about a lot of other projects and programs that we do, because that's what senior rabbis do. So he also, handles the major decisions. So that's Rabbi Strauss. Rabbi Fort is our rabbi who deals with young adults and young families programming. She's also become a specialist for us in special needs people. People have, sensory. So if we have a special sensory Shabbat or High Holy Day program, she's been doing that. I think she's also going to be getting involved in addiction issues. She went to visit a Jewish addiction organization in Los Angeles to see how they programs, and she's going to bring some of that here. She's also doing a gardening program this week and next week. So she's doing a lot of great programming. So Sarah Fort's a great person to know. Cantor Mayor Finkelstein is our world-renowned cantor. Everybody knows him around the world if you know about Jewish music. He's written a lot of music that other cantors sing. He's been at pretty much all the major, large conservative synagogues throughout his career. When I first knew him, he was at one of the big synagogues in Los Angeles. But he's been to Detroit and Toronto, Chicago, and here. So, and we're happy to have him here. And he's doing some singing programs in our new distance learning program. So this afternoon he's going to be singing a concert of songs of the 70s for those of you who like that music. And maybe he'll do the 80s next year or next week. I don't know. Anyway, so that's Cantor Finkelstein. Mindy Stern is our membership person. So she'll be the person you would contact when you go through the conversion program, when you do the conversion ceremony. Afterwards, we'll mail you the certificate, and along with that will be the application for membership, which will just ask you, demographic information and so on, and kind of enrolls you in our system so that you'll be able to fully access all the stuff on our website. You can log into our website with your membership, and it'll keep track of your like if you God forbid had a death in the family, it keeps track of the anniversary of the date of death and other things for you, and also allows you to sign up for things pretty easily. But Mindy is the one who organizes our membership. So after your first free year of membership, she'll probably write you and say, okay, now we have to figure out what your regular membership dues will be, or your contribution to synagogue will be. And she's the person to talk to. She's very friendly, very nice, and it should be pretty easy to deal with. Andy Berger is our executive director. He kind of runs the building and the people, and he sort of maintains everything. He's really a fantastic guy. We're very lucky to have him be our executive director. He just runs things. And then we're going to get it to Jennifer Rosensweig, who's on this conference. So Jennifer, why don't you say what you do? You'd have to.
First, I got to unmute myself. I am the program director. So that means I have a hand in a whole lot of different things.
Yeah, just about everything.
Right now, it means I spend most of my time on Zoom. But, helping to coordinate programming for all different factions of the synagogue, trying to make sure we have a little bit of everything, something for everybody. Also making sure, taking care of the calendar, making sure we don't have too much one time and nothing another time. So anytime that there's programming going on, I'm probably there or close by.
Right. So Jennifer's been amazing in keeping us all organized here while we're in different places. She's had a lot of experience doing that kind of work. She was working at the JCC when we stole her away. And before that, she was working for us in family programming.
Yeah.
So Jennifer's great. And then Cheryl Eskowitz is our religious school director. So for kids from, I think it's now kindergarten through 7th grade, 8th, 7th grade?
7th.
She organizes all the education. That's the after school program. So for the younger kids, it's all only Sunday morning. As they get into 3rd or 4th grade, they start doing once a week on Wednesday afternoon as well. So they can learn Hebrew and start getting ready for bar and bat mitzvah training. So Cheryl runs that program. She's a good person to know if you have kids who are going to have kids who are entering the program. Jennifer Levine. So in addition to having an after-school program at Beth Yeshurun, we have Beth Yeshurun Day School, which is now a separate organization, but it's housed in our building, and we coordinate a lot with them. And obviously they have the name Beth Yeshurun in them, so we feel pretty related to each other. So that's our day school program. So there's day school tuition involved, which is not inexpensive, but there are scholarships. And they also have recently reduced their tuition tremendously so that they can encourage more people to participate. So if you think you might be interested in day school experience, you want to check out our Beth Yeshurun Day School. Jennifer Levine is our new head of school. She's just been fantastic. When we had to go virtual, she didn't miss a beat. It was during, fortunately, spring break, but she got all the teachers lined up so that as soon as spring break was over, they were right away doing distance learning. It's amazing. She just transitioned right away. And Jared Bloom is right. So we have a lay leader, which is a rotating position. Usually the president of a synagogue is a 2-year position elected by the lay people. And Jared Bloom is our president. He's a really fantastic guy. We're lucky to have him as president at this time. If you watched our services, he spoke yesterday at services, and he's our current president. He'll be president, I think, for another year, and then it'll switch to someone else. But he's a good person to know also. So that's kind of the people to know area. So we have most synagogues have a sisterhood. This goes back to the old days when when men were working and women were at home. Originally. And so a lot of women would get together to do things for the synagogue and created sisterhood. In the modern world, we still have a sisterhood so that women can get together and do things socially and social action and other activities. Our sisterhood has had a challah bake a few times a year. So if you want to learn how to make challah, the special bread for Passover, they run a program like that. They run special programs of women's interest. They also have other kind of cooking. They did a Passover recipe book. And they also do social action. They raise money for the synagogue. And they run the gift shop, the synagogue gift shop. Anything else about that, Jennifer?
Every year they sponsor one of the movies at the Real Abilities Film Festival.
Right, so that's a citywide program for people with disabilities, and the Sisterhood sponsors one of the films that's shown during that the series.
And they do a lot of their dues go towards a lot of little things around the synagogue that people probably don't notice. Whenever there's not a bar bat mitzvah, they are the ones who pay for the kiddish lunches. They do a lot of support for the kitchen, upgrades in the kitchen, like just a lot of things around the synagogue.
And sometimes they probably help to bake or cook or things like that.
They do. They deliver they bake and deliver shiva cakes whenever the need arises.
Right. So if you have if you've lost someone in your family, they actually bake a cake and deliver it to your home as part of, you know, offering some comfort and support to families. So there used to be sort of the corollary to the sisterhood was sort of the men's club. That many congregations didn't work out too well. So when Rabbi Strauss first came here, which was a long time ago now, he started a new thing that he had seen successful at a synagogue in Los Angeles called 100 Jewish Men. And the idea was to sign up 100 men for a once-a-month program where they'd have dinner together and a speaker on some subject of interest. And it's been hugely successful, and it's now probably 18 years going. And still get 100 people to sign up. And they used to have monthly programs. Hopefully when we get back to the synagogue, we'll do that again. But they've also now branched, they've kind of taken over the men's club. So now they also do a couple fundraisers a year, selling honey for high holidays. And I forgot there was one other one they do.
I don't remember.
But anyway, they raise some money, which they also then use for the synagogue. And they also do other activities to support the synagogue. So that's if you're interested in meeting other men in you know, specifically that kind of an organization, that's 100 Jewish Men. Rabbi Strauss also a few years ago reinvigorated our social action committee. He launched it on a Yom Kippur high holiday sermon that he gave. They have about 6 or 7 major activities that they engage in. One of them is we're supporting a refugee family from Afghanistan.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yes.
From Afghanistan. So we didn't have to do actually the bringing them in. The Interfaith Ministries of Greater Houston helps with refugee settlement, but they work with faith churches and synagogues and mosques to provide the sort of support for the family once they get here. So our social action committee has a subcommittee that has adopted this Afghani family, helped them to find jobs and helped the kids with school and tutoring and getting them equipment that they might need, helping them to feel comfortable in Houston. And they're really appreciative, and it's, I think, really great. They're a Muslim family, obviously, from Afghanistan. And needless to say, this is good way to build relationships with the people of a different faith. It gives them a whole different impression about Jews than they might have had from their home country. and it's been very successful. The family, I just saw an email that they're having some current issues with their current economic situation, so we're going to help them out some more. So that's one of the things they do. We also work with Search, the homeless shelter in town. And do you remember any of the other ones, Jennifer?
We've done some things for the Houston Food Bank. We're actually going to take a group to volunteer there this week. There's another there's a soup kitchen that we go to once every couple of months, and I don't remember the name of it, which is another subcommittee of the Social Action Committee.
If you're interested in any of these things, just go to our website. Most of these things I'm listing here are in the drop-down menu under our community, and you can just click to there and you'll see what we're doing. We have a young adults group. Again, that's kind of our activities are organized by Rabbi Fort. Family program also mostly organized by Rabbi Fort, with our religious school, our day school, and if you have high school kids, we participate with 2 other congregations in an after-school program. We call it Kehila High School. We're also very fortunate that Rabbi Fort's husband is also a rabbi, Ariel Schollklapper, and he is a fantastic facilitator of meditation and Jewish mindfulness. And so he does stuff all around town, but he does mindfulness meditation for us as well. And so you're, welcome to do anything with that here or any of the other places where he's. And we have other people in town also do meditation, but he's particularly um, good at it, I think. And then there's youth group activities. I don't know if anybody would be interested in that, but we do have some youth group stuff going on. Most of the city is taken over by BBYO, which is the high school youth organization. It's a national organization with a local chapter. Yeah, okay. CBY Socials is for people like 60 and over. So
Baby boomers, yeah.
What?
Baby boomers.
Baby boomers.
Yes.
So if you are a baby boomer and you just want to get together once a month for something, that's CBY Socials. Mindy Stern has been organizing that. The Jewish Learning Project is my thing, of course, and since if you liked classes so far on Sunday mornings, I offer other classes on Sunday, and we have other teachers also offering classes on Sunday mornings. We're branching out now and doing lunch and learns, and we probably will continue to do those and maybe some other special learning programs. So if you're interested, stay tuned for more stuff on that. Of course, prayer services are one of the primary things synagogues do. We have 3 services. The main service is our sanctuary service. It's the only one now being done in our building at the moment. Only Friday nights and Saturday mornings. Our museum minion, as we said before, is the egalitarian group, a friendly group of people. If you'd like to get on their email list, just let me know and we can make sure you're on their list. They do some Friday night Shabbat dinners. We haven't been able to do that lately. But a few of them are now doing a Zoom Friday night dinner every Friday night, where at least they eat together over Zoom. It's a little awkward, but it's what we have to do these days. And they've
been doing the Zoom Havdalah each week as well.
Right, yeah. So to end the Sabbath with Havdalah, the ceremony at the end of the Sabbath, they've been getting together around 8 o'clock every Saturday night to just talk and then do the Havdalah ceremony. And you're welcome to join that. So you just need to get into their email address. So
the links for the Havdalah are on the website calendar.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah.
And then chapel is of course, our only daily service, which is not meeting now at all. And they're not having their Shabbat service either until we get back in the building. Museum Minion has been doing a Zoom service on Saturday morning. They just started doing that, which is a nice way, again, to sort of get together and be a little more interactive than the sanctuary service. So if you're interested, you can join that. We have a new inclusion program for people who have different disabilities. Richard Cameraman, one of our congregants, kind of got that ball rolling, and Rabbi Ford is now sort of helping to structure that. And we have tons of online programming. So every week, Jennifer gets together with Ashley, our tech whiz, tech wizard, who's been awesome in getting this all to happen. She's been amazing. She's also our publicity, specialist. And so every week, Ashley and Jennifer get together and send out a weekly list of what we're doing online. And if you're not on that list, you sign up through the happenings.
Yes, if you go to the website, there's I think right on the front page, there's a way to sign up for our emails. And that will get you the weekly schedule that comes out every Wednesday.
So then you get a weekly list of what we're doing, including now our special list of weekly streamed events and programs. So that's Beth Yeshurun. In the Houston community, in addition to Beth Yeshurun, there's a Houston Federation, which is sort of what I would say the secular Jewish community, sort of. We're the religious Jewish community, and all the secular activities pretty much are organized, at least through the Federation. They are the ones who organize the Yom Limud. So because the synagogues we're all our own separate entities, if you want to get everybody together, you need somebody to convene the movements, convene the groups. And the Federation does that. So they have a Bureau of Jewish Education, which helps give support to the different synagogue educations. But then they also have this Yom Limud they do once a year in February, which hopefully many of you went to, and hopefully we'll be able to do next February. All the synagogues, everybody gets together and has a lot of fun on a Sunday morning and into the afternoon. They also do the PJ Library, which is a collection of books for little kids, so parents can read their kids' little books and little kids' books about Jewish topics. So they organize
Rabbi, I
that.
think it started out as just books, but now it's much, much bigger than that. They have access to all kinds of speakers and musical groups and all sorts of things. So they actually fund a lot of family programming, not just the book series anymore.
Good. So that's particularly for little kids, though. Yes, I mean,
Yeah, it's for younger, like preschool and young elementary age, and we partner with them regularly to help bring in, all kinds of talent.
So yeah, so if you have little kids or you're planning to have little kids, you want to keep that in mind. They also offer Camp in Israel scholarships. They also have a social action person who organized the Jewish community to go, particularly during school holidays. So Martin Luther King weekend, they organized a Jewish group to participate in the Martin Luther King parade. And I think during
Thanksgiving, we went to the food bank.
right.
And then in December, we went to Herman Park to help do some cleanup at the park.
Right. So they organize different social action projects, and you can sign up to get their emails also. They have government affairs for, so that we can, as a Jewish community, we can approach our government officials and say, look, this is a concern to us. Can you do something about it? They also have a young adults division called YAD, conveniently. YAD means hand in Hebrew, but it's an acronym for Young Adults Division. So if you're young, you want to meet other young Jews, this is a great way to do it. And they do lots of activities and programs. And they have Israel engagement. The Jewish Community Center, which is right now right next door to the Federation in the building, it's on South Bracewood, just west of Chimney Rock. They have a book and arts festival every November. They have an Israel Film Festival, a Jewish Film Festival, lots of other arts programs. Exercise, they have a preschool called Bertha Alice Preschool, but personally I think ours is better, so you should send their kids to ours place, but but many people
Not
like
that you're
Bertha Alice.
biased, but yeah.
What?
Not that you're biased, but
I'm slightly biased. And they have a lot of other kinds of programs. It's a great place to meet other Jewish people and do Jewish arts and cultural activities or exercise, and they have dance classes and all kinds of stuff. Not
they do
so
a
much
lot of educational things as well, in which y'all often participate in.
That's true. So they have an advanced education program called the Melton Adult Learning Program, which is great. Which is, if you're interested, you can look into that. Jewish Family Services provides psychotherapy, like family, psychological counseling, financial assistance, employment assistance, and they also sponsor the Celebration Company, which is for, again, people who are having some physical or other issues, to help them to feel like they're doing something, to give them projects to do. So they make candles, they make other art projects that they actually sell in their store. Once a week they get together to make a Shabbat lunch together, and they do Kiddush and everything. It's a great opportunity because it helps them to feel like they're contributing to society, which is really, really important. So they sponsor that. 7 Acres is our senior care facility. The Houston Kashrut Association, you can go to that website and see where all the kosher restaurants, bakeries, and supermarkets are. And we even have an Israeli consulate here in town. So, okay. National organizations, there's the Anti-Defamation League. I won't describe too much about them. You can go to their website to learn about them. The ADL has a local office here, and here's the local office website and phone number. American Jewish Committee has a local office and with phone number, and the AIPAC has a local office. AIPAC is the official lobby for Israel. And Hillel, which is the campus organization for Jews, So that's their national website and their local. There's a local Houston Hillel, which sort of provides assistance to the Jewish students at the University of Houston and at Rice University and maybe a couple of the smaller places. And then international, the conservative movement has an international organization called Masorti Olami, which supports conservative congregations in the movement all around the world. The Merkaz is our Zionist organization. It's too complicated to explain now, but to get seats in the World Zionist Congress so that you can vote as to what the World Jewish Group does and allocate money to different organizations, you have to vote to a party, and our party is the Merkaz party. So that gets you a seat at the World Zionist Congress, which is going to happen soon. And the World Zionist Organization kind of runs the programs. Zionist Congress meets about every 5 years to vote, and in between, the World Zionist Organization actually runs the business, runs the operations. And here's the United Synagogue of Conservative Judaism is our synagogue organization. It supports the conservative synagogues all over the world. Okay, so that's that. So now, any questions about any of that, or anything about the class, or how you can get involved, what you might want to do? I'm happy to answer questions. Jennifer can answer questions. What do you think?
No.
Thoughts? No?
Rabbi, I would add something that we don't always remember to advertise it, but with the exception of our high holidays, just about everything that we do is open not only to our membership, but to non-members as well. So you're always welcome, or you want to bring a friend, or almost everything we do is really very open, especially now because it's all virtual. But even so, during the year, I think that's an important thing for people to remember. Like, come, sample, bring a friend. If you don't want to come by yourself, you're always welcome to do that.
Right, that's good, yeah. Yeah, the only time you actually need to have a ticket is for the high holidays.
Right.
And to get a ticket, you need to be a member. So all you don't need to worry about that right now. Either we'll have the conversion ceremonies for you done before the high holidays, and then you'll get membership. Or if not, we'll just automatically give you tickets until we can do the conversion ceremony. So for this year, don't worry about it. It's not a problem. Any other questions? Any responses, actions, reactions? No? Okay, so that's kind of the end of the class. And if you want anything, I'm available by phone. Hopefully everybody has my phone number now. Yes, Aurora and Bob. Can you unmute your phone? Oh, there. Here. There you go. Yeah, what's up?
Do you have a personal opinion on when we want to be back? I mean, in the synagogue with all the services and everything else?
When everything should be back?
I know you're not the official one, but what's your personal opinion? What are they saying?
Yeah. All right. So the rule right now is we're only having 10 people scattered in the big Friedman Levitt sanctuary. That's kind of been sort of I think most people seem to think it's a reasonable compromise of safety and yet trying to be open. They generally have, since we started this, we're saying groups of 10 people or less, and so that we're having 10 people. And they're all wearing face coverings and they're all separated. My guess is it's possible that sometime later, maybe a month or so, we might start having a daily minyan with the chapel, that not on Shabbat, but the other days of the week. Again, with only 10 people coming in the Friedman Levitt sanctuary, just so we can have a minyan so people can say the Mourner's Kaddish. We'll broadcast it so people can join in and say Kaddish. And we'll have Torah reading, etc. So, but that would be just a daily minyan. I personally am not so sure about the rest. I don't know when that's going to happen. A lot depends on how things go the next month and a half. You know, we're opening up now. If we re-spike, I don't think we have any choice but to shut down again or pull back. So if after a couple months of being semi-open, it doesn't look like we're overwhelming the medical system, it's possible we might try to do something else. I just don't know. And you know, a lot of my colleagues, I'll just be honest with you, a lot of my colleagues around the country are planning right now to have the high holidays streamed. The high holidays in September, biggest day of the year, probably not in their building. That's what they're planning right now.
You have a chance of getting in by Shavuos? For Shavuos? Which is the end of the month?
No, I don't see us having anything. I mean, what we are working on right now, Jennifer and I are working on right now. So we were going to have a Shavuos program. We were going to show a documentary about the Jews who were forced to leave Spain or forced converted. And then the movie maker was going to do a talk about it after the movie. So we're now talking to him about potentially doing the movie over the internet and having him do the presentation over the internet. And we're going to find out on Tuesday whether that's going to work or not. That's how we're in process. And hopefully on Tuesday we'll figure out if we can do that. But that's what we're going to be doing. We're not going to be meeting at the congregation for Shavuos, unfortunately. Maybe the Friedman Levitt, again, just to have a minyan in the morning for services. But I don't see, you know, a lot of, I've talked to a number of doctors, and there is some variation as to how comfortable they are with opening up right now. But there are many doctors who are saying we're opening up too soon. The numbers have not really gone down enough yet. Others are saying, look, you know, maybe it's reasonable to do this kind of limited thing. This is a dangerous illness. I just got another message today from somebody who recovered from it. She has a child who still sleeps 15 hours a day, she said. And this is weeks later. It's not, and that's a person who survived. Yeah.
Rabbi, how many Beth Yeshurun people were afflicted? You know.
What?
How many Beth Yeshurun congregants?
Well, I know of a few, and my guess is there's probably a lot more that I don't know about. A lot of people don't talk about it, but I know of a few for sure. We have one member who was working in the prisons. He's a police officer, and then he works for the sheriff's department, so he was guarding in the prisons and got it from the prison. Prisons are a place where this disease is prevalent. And he was in the ICU for a while. He's now home, thankfully, but now his son is his son got it from him, so he's in the hospital now. So I don't know. You know, in terms of the high holidays, look, you know, I started talking to some of my Christian friends because Easter is the high holidays for them, right? That's when everybody goes to church. And virtually every church had to do a distance service for Easter, which must have been devastating in some ways. I mean, just certainly disorienting. So look, they did it. They got through the Easter services. So I mean, for us it's a little different because like on Yom Kippur, we're in services the whole day. It's not just like a 2-hour service. It's the whole day. So it's going to be really weird doing that on the internet. But I think we should, God willing, maybe it won't happen, but we should certainly plan and prepare for it because it might well be that that's how we're going to do it.
Rabbi, I have one quick question.
Yeah.
Has there been any more news about UOS opening up related to specifically the
Yes.
facilities we need for conversion?
Yeah, so I did ask Rabbi Gelman this week, and he said he doesn't know. He has no idea when they're going to be able to open up for regular, and it's not just UOS. I've heard this from mikvahs around the country that they're all having this kind of issue. They want to be open just for the family. In the Orthodox world, and some conservative Jews, they go women go monthly, and they want to leave it just for that. So now I'm talking to some colleagues. We have one colleague who specializes in mikvahs. It's not that common in the conservative movement to be a specialist, but he is. And I'm going to call him up later this week to talk about some ideas. One really wild idea is to, and I don't know if this is even feasible, drain a swimming pool, fill it with a ton of ice, literally a ton of ice, because melted water counts as mayim chaim, living waters, and then fill the rest of the pool up with regular water. But it's like 100 gallons of ice or more. It'll be a lot of ice. I don't know how practical that is. That's one idea. Another possibility is to go out to the beach or a river. I asked about modesty, and I'll talk to him more about that. He said you can wear a loose-fitting robe. So I'll try and find out more about that. I'm looking into what we can do. Yeah, I've been here for 22 years. Never had to worry about this. Any other questions about that?
I don't have a question so much as a statement, Rabbi.
Yeah?
I just wanted to thank you and everyone else that's been on this journey for the past few months, and it's been a pleasure, and hopefully we can all do the ceremony sooner than later, but thank you so much for everything.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, thank you for being part of it. Yeah, listen, it would be great, when we can, we should all get back together. Maybe we'll all take over the schmooze room at Kenny and Ziggy's. I don't know if you've been to Kenny and Ziggy's. It's one of the last surviving delis, Jewish delis in the world, really. And Ziggy he comes from a family of deli owners, so he does it the old school. Now, none of the meat is kosher, so I only eat the dairy foods there. But he has in the back room a what he calls the schmooze room. It's a place that can fit maybe 30, 40 people, and we might be able to get the back room if you're interested, and we can have lox and bagels and something back there after this is all over, when we can meet again in a restaurant.
Yes.
I got one yes here.
Rabbi,
Yeah.
I think we're allowed to eat in restaurants now as long as they don't limit 25% capacity. So that idea may be feasible right now, as long as we don't go over 25% capacity.
Yeah. Yeah, we have to be sort of separated out still, right? It's 6 feet apart. I mean, it's a little bit awkward, but I'm not quite ready to do that. Maybe in August. Let's see, depending on how things go the rest of the summer. Let's see how it goes. I'll definitely talk to Ziggy. I'm sure he'd be delighted to have business. We have some chats here, which I haven't looked at. Oh, people are definitely into the good. All right, so I'll keep Ziggy's in mind. Anybody else?
Is there a way we
Okay.
could all stay in touch with each other, social media or anything?
Yeah. So you know what? Let's do. Maybe I'll have Lisa send out an email to the whole list. This is obvious. You all are the people who are obviously the most committed here. But maybe we'll send out the whole list and say who would like to get together just to chat maybe once a week or something like that. would you want to? I'm going to be teaching a class at 9 o'clock, so it can't be then. Maybe at 10:30 or something like that. We could open up a Zoom room. I'll talk to Jennifer to see what's feasible, and and then we can just say if people are interested, send us your emails, right? And we can set that up. That'd be a nice idea, sure.
Rabbi,
do
quick
that.
question. Are there any workaround thoughts for the mikveh in terms of maybe a Zoom with an officiant and a bath?
Yeah, so the problem is that a regular bathtub or a swimming pool doesn't count as a kosher mikveh. Otherwise, we could just commandeer somebody's swimming pool. So you need to have a natural body of water of some kind. And so a lake, a river, or the beach are possibilities. I haven't actually been in Galveston Beach, but people tell me you don't want to be in Galveston Beach.
Well, a pool is huge. Is a hot tub an option? Drain the hot tub, do the ice.
Yeah,
thing?
so this rabbi who is one of my colleagues is an expert in this area, and he talked about the possibility of you have to kind of jury rig a hot tub, and so I'd have to learn how it's done. I'm not sure how practical it is, but it can't be just a regular hot tub. You have to change it somehow and make some changes to it. So, and then you still would have the problem of getting kosher water in. So, if it's empty, I asked him about, well, what about just rainwater in a swimming pool? Because rainwater counts as mayim chayim. So I said, well, what if we just use the swimming pool after it rains hard, right? Because then the swimming pool is filled up with rainwater.
Right.
And he said, well, first of all, the living water has to go in first. So and I don't know who owns a pool who'd want to do this. You'd have to drain the pool and then let the rainwater come in and then add water afterwards. But with a hot tub, it's not as big a body of water. That's more of a possibility. But again, you have to somehow play with that. It's complicated. The rules are complicated. So I don't know.
Well, we volunteer ours if there's an option on.
You have a hot tub.
Yeah.
Aha. Well, that's a start.
There's a joke in here somewhere, but
There is a joke in here somewhere. Okay, hot tub. And is it? I'm just going to ask you a couple of questions about it, and I'll talk to my friend. So, is it open to the open, like outside, like if it rained and you left the top off?
Yep.
Yes.
Yes.
And would you be interested in draining it and let the water just rainwater first, then we'll fill it with water afterwards?
I drain it every 6 months anyway, so it's not a problem. 350 something gallons, I think, something like that.
Wow.
The other thing is, obviously, we would not have cameras, but we have outdoor cameras that watch our whole yard, including the hot tub. If it was necessary, we could drain it early, keep the video on it to verify that it's only rainwater going in it, and then start. If someone says, "Yeah, we can do this," it might take several rainstorms, right? So
and your yard is obviously a private area of, like, if somebody was in the pool, it wouldn't be.
Yeah, and we disconnect the cameras for the whole yard, but yes.
Right.
Could you collect rainwater from? Could you collect rainwater from other places and add it all to that hot tub?
Yeah, the problem there is it has to be I'm not an expert in this area, but I know a little bit, right? So it has to be naturally directed from the rainwater into the pool. Like if it goes through a piping system, that doesn't work. So obviously if you collected it in buckets and then poured the buckets in, I don't think that works either. So, but if the pool is open and it's pouring rain and it goes in, then you could do that. Another possibility is, so my friend said the ice sounds very impractical, but there's a whole lot of businesses that do ice sculpting that aren't doing anything now, and they need the money, and they probably would be willing to sell you a huge chunk of ice. So, like, it sounds crazy, but it could be done, and it doesn't have to be ice cold when you're using it. It just has to be melted, right? Then you can heat it up. So all these crazy ideas, I mean, they're whatever, but I can look. I will look at. I'm going to call him and I'll check into it.
Okay.
Anybody else? Oh, there's some more chats here. I've got to check the chat. Oh yes, question. Oh,
With
yeah.
regards to like an extension or other class options available to gain like a little bit more knowledge, since obviously the conversion process has been put on hold, is there anything like in the works for that?
Yes. Yeah. So first of all, uh, uh, now that I've had this experience of doing Zoom, I'd always been planning, as you know, about recording things, and this makes an excellent recording. It produces an audio file as well as a video file, so I can over the summer record a lot of these things, and finally put a quality recording into a folder. The audio recordings that we did during the year weren't always the best quality, especially when I was doing it. So we can do a higher quality recording. I can put them in the folder with the handouts. So that's one thing. But other classes, yeah. So I'm going to starting next Sunday. I'm going to be teaching I think an 8-part class on unorthodox Jewish beliefs, where I'll go into more detail about the ideas about who wrote the Bible. Does God talk to people? Does God have a role in the world? Do miracles happen? Why do bad things happen to good people? The afterlife and the Messiah and all that. And although I call it unorthodox Jewish beliefs, it's not like I'm creating this out of thin air. I'm using Jewish sources, traditional Jewish sources and modern Jewish sources to kind of give you ways of thinking about it. And one of the things in Judaism that you've hopefully learned during the class is that we don't have just one way of thinking about things. So I'm going to present some different things, my own personal view, and most of it is to spark you to think about how you want to think about them. So that's one thing, unorthodox Jewish beliefs. We'll probably have other programs. Aaron Howard, who's a writer in town, he writes for the Jewish Herald Voice, is going to be doing a multi-part class on the history of Jews in Russia. And we'll definitely, and Rabbi Horowitz is going to continue his class on Pirkei Avot, which is like Jewish wisdom, and a class on Kabbalah, Jewish mysticism.
Ooh.
So he's continuing his classes through at least the end of June.
Awesome.
Yeah.
The Seder Gemot.
Oh, wonderful. That's great. Anybody? Sunday morning, 10:30, 30-minute coffee club. Okay, that sounds good.
Is Diane's class going to continue, or is that finished this week?
Yeah, so Diane said she will probably continue. We hadn't counted, it was not in the budget, so she's probably going to be just doing it because she wants to keep the class going. And Danny also he's just doing it to keep the class going. I think she's going to continue. Yeah. Anybody else? A lot of great questions. Yeah, so I think having coffee would be great. It would be fun to be able to allow you all to talk more too. So the coffee club at 10:30 on Sunday mornings might be a nice thing. Let me see if I can arrange that.
How about doing it another day so it doesn't conflict with the classes?
That's a possibility. I mean, because I'm at home. I'm very fortunate that I can work at home. So, and I have somewhat flexible time. I'm busy all the time, but it's flexible. So are there other times that people might want to do this? Evening, morning?
Well, I mean, we only have one computer, so we only can do one thing at a time.
Any particular time of day? I mean, we could do a 9 o'clock in the morning, or an 8:30 in the morning sometime, if that's not too early for people. All right, well, we'll see. Maybe part of the email will be, give a couple options for people to vote on, and then when you respond with your email address, tell us which time you think is the best, and we'll do that. $10:30 is available Sundays every other week. We could see how to move to an alternate down the road. Okay, all right, okay. So we might start with 10:30 on Sunday mornings and see what happens after that. Okay, listen, it's been great having everybody, and hopefully, I can't wait to see you all again in person. And we'll get through this. We will get through this. Jewish people have a long history of dealing with crazy things, and this is, although scary and challenging, easier than some of the other ones we've done. All right. Bye, everybody.
Hi, Rabbi. Thank you so much.
Thank you for